Utah is a very conservative state, but recently they decided to deal with their issue of homelessness by giving homeless people homes for free.
Wow.
And there are no strings attached whatsoever. So this program actually started back in 2005. Let me give you the details. Since 2005, Utah has reduced homelessness by 78%, and it's on track to end it completely by 2015. So what they do is they basically offer extremely affordable housing for homeless people. So it starts off as free, and they also provide a social worker and a caseworker to help them transition into society. And what I mean by that is they'll help them get a job, they'll help them get any type of mental health care that they need, because a lot of people that are out on the streets, of course, need mental health care. Some of the women that are homeless left their husbands because they've been battered by them. So having a social worker is a key element of this. However, if they are unable to find work or make that transition, they can stay in that housing for free for as long as they want. And it's actually a cost-effective way of doing it. By the way, if they do earn an income, they would pay 30% of their income for the housing. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah.
So the annual cost of ER and jail stays for each homeless person is $16,670 a year.
Wow.
They found out that if you provide them housing, it's actually much cheaper. The annual cost of providing an apartment and social worker for each homeless person is $11,000 a year. So they're like, you know what? Why don't we provide shelter for them? They're going to feel more independent. They're going to feel like they can go out there and find work and be productive members of society. We're going to save money doing it, and we're going to get people off the streets.
Yeah, and it's a quality of life issue improvement for everybody who's not homeless.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's a win-win-win. And also, if it doesn't work, if it disincentivizes them from working, and they're just like, well, why would I get a job and pay 30%? I could just take this free housing. But yeah, first of all, who cares, right? That's not going to happen much. Most people will try to make their life better. Right?
Yeah.
And secondly, like if it doesn't work, God bless them for trying. Like that's the key. That's what we're supposed to do, is come up with something that might work. And if that doesn't work, you try something else. But maybe eventually you'll find something that works. And there'll be fewer homeless people, and you've gotten these families and these people back on their feet again. Like this and they'll eventually make money, and then and little things. And because as Jimmy said, the economy is driven not by the 0.5%, it's driven by us. It's driven by the people who decide to buy things or want things. Then they'll go buy something, and they'll go to Target, they'll go to Walmart, and they'll shop.
You know, you really got to give Utah credit here.
No
Obviously,
kidding.
a very conservative state.
Yes.
You know, this didn't come out of a liberal place. This came out of a conservative place. So bless their hearts. I know they're concerned about the money. Good. You should be concerned about spending taxpayer money, right? And they want to make sure that there's a good environment for everybody to live in. And they don't want homeless people around. But they did the decent moral thing. And they're, like Ben said, they're trying an experiment that is like the most decent experiment I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Even if it fails, it's a success in that they've tried something different, right?
Like
But right now it's succeeding.
Yeah, so let me jump in. It's already been a success. I mean, they started it in 2005. I mean, the concept originated in 2004. They started actually using it in 2005. And now, nearly 10 years later, it turns out that they've completely solved the homeless issue. And you know, one of the issues that Cenk had brought up earlier was, well, what happens to property values, right? Because what happens is they look for existing rental units to put these homeless people in. They refurbish old buildings, and they also build new units to house the homeless people. And what they found was property values did not go down. In fact, property values in Utah have been steadily going up. So that's good news.
And people are working to refurbish these buildings and building new buildings and the new construction.
Right.
Those guys are working on that.
And plus, there's more money in the government coffers because they're saving money by treating the homeless people this way instead of paying for their emergency rooms and their jailing.
Exactly.
You know, honestly, if you told me this proposal before they tried it, I'd have been like,
no kidding, me too.
yeah, like, come on, you libs.
I know.
Also, let me just
I would have been like, wait. Then how about the poor guy living down the street who's got to pay money? I feel like that's unfair to him, right? And I don't know. I literally would have been too conservative for this proposal, and I would have expected that it would have been San Francisco or Massachusetts or somebody that would have tried this. Well,
you know why? This is why I'm going to make up. It's because they're Mormons. I mean, for all the shit that we regularly do, these are people who look out for their neighbors more than almost any other religion, and they do it consistently. It's why Elizabeth Smart's father brought that crazy guy on, because he was homeless. He was like, I'm going to give this guy some work and I'm going to help him out. It was a kind thing that he did. And you know, as my mom told me growing up, and my mom was a Mormon and left the church because she thought it was nuts. But she's like, but these people, man, they help, they look out for their neighbors like nobody's business. And that's, I mean, and Mormons dominate the Utah legislature, and I guarantee you that was at play here, like a legitimate thought of, look, we're conservative with our money, but this doesn't make any sense. How do we help these people out? What makes sense? And let's problem solve.
So is there any chance you think of this spreading?
Yes. So there are other, not entire states, but municipalities that are considering it. I know that San Francisco has done some version of this, and obviously they have a huge problem with people on the streets, like living on the streets. So we'll see how it pans out for San Francisco, but they've also done it in Denver. It's been successful in Denver.
So what are they going to do it in Santa Monica, right? That seems like the most liberal place around, and the place with the most homeless people.
I'm hoping that they do it in Santa Monica, but another way of contrasting this is criminalizing homeless people, which Tampa, Florida attempted to do, right? And it's actually costing them more money, because if you're going to criminalize them, you're going to throw them in jail, and then you spend a ton of money keeping them there.
Yes.
So this makes way more sense.
But it seems like the mental illness is a big problem.
Yes.
So how do they deal with that?
Well, they provide like a social worker and the care that they need. And I should also note, so the state is spearheading this, but they also have 10 different leaders from different parts, different regions in Utah, customizing the plan to suit their needs, right? So I think that that's great too, because it allows like particular cities to make
handle
decisions
it the way they see fit.
Exactly.
Yeah, you gotta have some
one of the
local
things
control.
the reasons that it might be working is that oftentimes when you want to get homeless people into shelters, they think the shelters are dangerous places. They're worried that people are going to steal their stuff, and so they're hesitant to go into shelters. But here they have apartments, so it's a lot less dangerous, right? And so that's one reason that it might be working. And so, I mean, look.
So you're for it now, Cenk?
Well, absolutely is the answer. And ideologically, it doesn't fit my ideology. Okay, I'm more competitive, and I think that I think things work on incentives. If you give people a disincentive to work, to get their own place, et cetera, that it's not the right strategy. But the one thing I'm open to is this thing called facts, right? And so when I see facts and I see that I was, like, my initial thoughts on it were wrong and that this has worked, I'd want to try to duplicate that and see if it works in other places. And if it does, great. And look, they say, well, they're going to eradicate homelessness. And when you hear stuff like that, and it's always followed by in 2050, 2075, 2085, right? They're like, by 2015. That's next year. Okay. When something's worked that well, I want to try it more.